What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Redbeard Media. Today, we have a very special episode for you. We are going to be taking a deep dive inside the mind and career of none other than my good friend and fellow photographer, Sean Burton of Storm Coast Creative. Thanks for joining us today, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, what I'd like to do is start by having you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and maybe the style of shooting that you prefer to do.
So I'm from Port Angeles, moved here when I was 5, and basically I shoot a lot of portraiture. I do more kind of wide open portraiture, so I use a 35 and just kind of ultra wide stuff, usually with the subject in the middle. I kind of like fusing landscapes and portraits together. It's kind of my jam.
Yeah, I definitely dig your that whole environmental portrait setup that you do. So, and by the way, guys, Sean's social info will be down below in the description of this video. He's at sean.m.burton on Instagram. Any other ones we'll put down in the description as well. All right, so how long exactly have you been honing your craft?
So about 2 years now, actually, a little bit over. I got my first DSLR in the December of 2016.
Which DSLR exactly did you start with?
I got a Nikon D3400.
Ooh.
And then just had the 2 kit lenses, the 80 to 200 or whatever it was on that, or things like 300, like 70-300, and then a 1855.
Nice. It's an APS-C. It's a crop sensor camera, right?
Yeah, crop sensor.
So for those of you out there getting a start, it's okay to start with an APS-C. You don't have to start out with a $2,000 camera body. I mean,
for sure.
Which is what we both have now.
Yeah.
But both of us started with cameras that were well less than $1,000.
Easy to upgrade your glass from there too. Like I just went straight after that, probably about a month, and bought the $130 used 35 1.8 for the Nikon and rocked that until I upgraded for like a year and a half. So
Yep, and I've been rocking that 50mm 1.8 STM hard for so long. I think that's a good thing to do. I think it's good to, when you get a new lens, don't put anything else on your camera for a long period of time. Just go out and shoot with nothing but that, so you get used to the different lengths you can shoot at, how close you can be to your subject, and how far you need to be away to get maybe a little more of an environmental portrait and stuff like that. Now, we've talked about your first setup, and you've been shooting now for a couple years.
Yep.
What is your latest setup? Because I remember when we were at a Mexican restaurant when you actually were like wheeling and dealing to purchase the new camera body. So tell us a little about that.
So back in September, I bought a Nikon D750, and then after that bought the battery grip for it.
Full frame.
Yep, so upgraded to a full frame camera. Nice, because I have a flippy screen now, so that's pretty badass. You can actually use stuff instead of shooting down like this and just guessing. You can see what you're doing. And then my current lens setup is I have the Nikon 50 1.8, which I don't use anymore. That's never on my camera, because I just bought the Sigma 35 1.4 art lens, and that's just been incredible. It's one of those things where people say it's hit or miss, and I think I got a good copy because that thing's tack sharp always.
Yeah, I have heard nothing but phenomenal things about that art glass. I definitely look forward to getting some art glass in the future. I think, actually, I think there's an art like 24 to 70.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'll probably end up getting that, because especially for stuff like this for YouTube, because shooting this on a 50mm 1.8 is just really ridiculous. Yeah. And we have the camera like, what, probably 7 feet away from us right now.
Here, yeah.
So that's really annoying. It would be nice to have a nice wide angle and not have to take up so much space in the studio. How exactly did you get into photography in the first place?
So I played music for a long time, and that was kind of my creative outlet. And then I had a friend that kind of moved away, who was moving on with Port Angeles, and kind of get out of the area, and I was kind of out of the music scene and out of touch with that. I still did a lot of writing, and I wanted another creative aspect to like help mend my writing with something different. Instead of like an audio thing, I wanted something visual. So I thought that it'd be cool to get into photography, to eventually like publish like a storybook or like a picture book or something that's just short poems, short stories mixed with photos that go along with it. So kind of like a storytelling, like a storyboard of the actual writings that I do.
Nice.
That's kind of what I got into photography.
Almost like I kind of like pictured, like, you know how Jared Polin does those 6 degrees of photography?
Yeah.
And then he does like a photo book of it.
Yep.
I kind of pictured like one of your photos, and then maybe with the text over it, like maybe in the corner, or maybe the whole next page is like the text that
Right.
kind of pertains to that a specific photo. So I don't know if that's your vision. I just like
That's
pictured
kind of
something like that.
That's kind of like exactly what it is. It's just I want to do something where the photos are in succession along with the story. So you might have like the passage on this side and then a photo on this side. So as the character moves the story or the plot winds, you have photos that represent each part of the story.
Nice. Like the cliff notes are the photo.
Exactly. So you can like. So you can actually go through, look at all the photos, and not have to read shit. You can just be like, all right, cool, like, this is the story.
Touche. You mentioned that you're from Port Angeles, and for those of you who don't know, Port Angeles is also where I'm from. That's where we're at right now. That's Port Angeles, Washington, and which is located here in the Pacific Northwest. And I mean, I could go into so many details, but what I'd like you to do is kind of talk about specifically why you enjoy shooting the Pacific Northwest and some of the highlights and maybe even lowlights about shooting in the Pacific Northwest.
So for me, I think there's just so much textures and so much cool stuff and things to see. And it's so diverse too. Like, yeah, you have like Western Washington and Oregon that's very green and very lush. Then you also those parts you have the ocean, you have the Pacific right there. So you can go from water, rocky beaches, or sandy beaches even, we have both, to lush, dense forests with the rainforests. And then you have alpine tundra. You go up a little bit higher. It's literally like an hour from each other. You can go from sea level, being on a beach, to being in some alpine tundra, some nice high altitude meadows, things like that. Or even if you start heading east, you got high desert, so things are a little bit different. It's just, there's a ton to do in such a small area. So you can actually fit themes kind of wherever you are.
Yeah.
That, and that's one of the biggest highlights. Another big highlight is that we're a little bit farther north, so we get a lot of light during the summer months, which
Long
is amazing.
days.
Like, pretty soon it's gonna be almost 10 o'clock till it's dark out, and then it's like 4:30 in the morning where it's light. But one of the downsides is that it's super rainy, so
Yeah.
it's hard, especially doing portrait stuff. Nobody wants to shoot in the rain. Like, I'm down to shoot. I'm always down to shoot in the rain. I don't mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's just my whole jam. My whole jam is moody stuff, and so the rain really helps out. But it's hard to find models or people that are down to get soaked.
Yep. It's a damn shame because it gets pretty rad out here when it is raining. Like,
Yeah.
and not to mention, if it's lightly raining, there's a good chance the lighting is on point
Correct.
all
Yep.
day. You're gonna have like this super soft light, like from our soft boxes that are surrounding us right now. Just soft light all day, every which angle you can think of. So
And I guess that's gonna be like another highlight too, is that we do have a lot of gray days and a lot of cloudy days and stuff, and that may not be some people's like jam. Maybe they want cool, beautiful sunsets or whatever, or nice sunny days. Okay, move to LA for that. Like up here, for me, it works out really well because I like those moody tones, moody vibes. So the soft, not harsh light is really awesome. Super nice to be able to go out anytime and just shoot on a great day, because usually the sky looks pretty cool. You can get some really cool clouds in there and
Yeah.
stuff. So just makes for really dramatic scenes.
yeah, I mean, definitely after this, go down and check out Sean's Instagram, because if you're into moody vibes, he's got it down. I can't even come close to replicating his moody vibes. Basically, my idea of trying to do his moody vibes is just like a little underexposure, really. But he's just like killing it with like split toning and crushing blacks and really utilizing the shadows and all that stuff. And I just like high contrast, good color. I like to mute my greens a little bit, and actually push them. I like to push my greens to the right on the slider. Like that
to more blue-green.
Yeah,
instead
for
of the
sure.
little yellow.
I'll push them to blue-green, and then I'll mute them a
Desatch?
little,
Yeah.
just a tad. Since we're on the topic of the Pacific Northwest, if you are willing to divulge,
Okay.
what are maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 of your favorite locations to shoot?
So for me, like definitely Deer Park, which is very seasonal. I'm waiting for that to open. Deer Park, the top of that ridge is just awesome. No matter what the sky is like, it's just completely beautiful. You have views into the Olympics. You have views out all over Western Washington. You can see up through the San Juans and everything like that, over to BC. It's just amazing. You're over 6,000 feet elevation in 45 minutes from sea level, and it's something pretty spectacular. That spot, there's also a spot that I do a lot of out on the Salduck. It's like on West Snyder Road. Something like nobody would think to shoot there, but I had property out there growing up, my parents did, and so I knew where that road was, and it's a pretty cool spot, especially in the fall. You have all these greens, and then there's a lot of maples and alders and stuff, so you have those deciduous trees that are turning different colors, and it's right on the river. It's
Yeah, and you've got those tide pools too that you can get some pretty rad reflections off too. If the sky is just a little spotty with clouds,
Right.
and you've got that blue coming through, and you like get that reflection off the water just right, that's killer.
Yep. Any coastal spot I think is really cool too. Just adds for a lot of drama.
I'm not a fan of the coast. I'm not
Really?
a fan of shooting on like the beach.
I think you have to do it. It's hard. You have to do it right. Like I think
Boring.
if you can get
The lighting needs to be really good. Like,
Exactly.
cloudy days are okay. Like those make for a really nice edit when it comes to the clouds and everything like
Right.
that. Those really help add to the dynamic and the moodiness of the photo. But otherwise, if it's a clear day,
there's
and
no
it's
use
like,
in going out there to shoot.
I'm just
you know?
like, what the hell are we doing? It was so hard to shoot
That green meet we went to?
Well, no, I was thinking about Maui. Like,
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
there
I
wasn't
bet.
a cloud in the sky, so I just had to like wait until the sun was like going down, and it was just like bright orange, like
Right.
perfect golden hour lighting. And yeah, but dude, sunny days on the beach,
They're no-go.
not a fan. Not a fan.
That's why I know we're lucky out here. Usually it's pretty crappy out the coast. So
Yeah, thankfully.
yep.
Thankfully, we have crappy weather. Staying on the topic of the Pacific Northwest or Port Angeles, Squim, whatever, what are some local photographers and or videographers who have kind of inspired you or motivated you to try some new things lately?
Literally all of them. I think one of the biggest thing here is trying to set up a community of people that kind of work together. And I think most people, especially newer ones or some new ones that have been like, in the business a while, they're starting to be really welcoming to new ideas and working together. And I think that's really inspiring to me. It's just a see everybody in a community reaching out, trying to help out each other, and just do good things and do great things. That's inspiring to me. Everybody's doing their own thing. It's kind of cool seeing different people's styles and stuff, and you can kind of take and pick things from everybody.
I see you took the easy way out there without name dropping any specific photographers or videographers who you look up to. I mean, I personally, like, as of late, especially with like video, with getting the YouTube channel off the ground and stuff, my one name drop will be Matt from Cascadia Films.
Yeah, Matt's
because
great.
That dude's just slaying it, and I love his little tutorials, and it's just rad what he's doing. So,
But I'd say Matt too. Like he definitely, especially last year, because I started getting really serious about all this stuff last year, and he was one of the first people to reach out to me and be like, "Hey, you're doing awesome. Keep going," and stuff. And he was really supportive, and that was really inspiring to me too. And him and I have really maintained that relationship, and he's a super cool guy to be around and work with. So, Matt definitely.
Shout out to Matt Sagan from Cascadia Films. This one, I know you're gonna have some name drops for me, for sure. Which non-local creators, YouTubers, photographers, videographers have you been inspired by lately?
Okay, so we were just talking about the two of them earlier today.
Yes.
Matty Hapoya and Peter McKinnon.
Yeah.
Both Toronto-based YouTubers, cinematographers, photographers, awesome dudes. When I first started getting into photography, I kind of found both their pages and stuff by accident, just by looking up tutorials and stuff. And they're both pretty fresh. I think they've both been doing YouTube for almost 2 years now. same time I've been doing photos.
Yeah.
And they're both killing it, and they just have such great personality on camera, and are just really good at teaching, going through basics, and just being alive, if that makes sense at all. Like, they're both very humble seeming dudes, and
Yeah.
I don't know, they've been super inspiring to me, both those guys. The whole Dope Squad, like Chris Howe too. One that's really random is the Hot Ones. You ever watch Hot Ones on YouTube?
Oh, dude, with Sean Evans?
Yeah,
Bro.
like, I don't know, that whole channel, I'm just like, this is
I religiously
amazing.
watch Hot Ones.
Same. I just watched their whole lineup of new hot sauces last night. I was like, yes.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know,
absolutely.
something about that channel too, or that show. Just how it just kind of started out as nothing, and then they had like A-list celebrities coming on. Just, that's super neat to me.
Yeah, they blew up.
Yeah.
They're over 4 million subscribers now.
Yeah, they're about to hit 5.
Which is insane. I mean, they had Gordon Ramsay and Scarlett Johansson in the same season.
Yeah. It's
Like,
ridiculous.
So yeah, dude, Peter McKinnon, Chris Howe. I've been watching Chris Howe for a really long time. I actually started watching Chris Howe before I started watching Peter McKinnon.
Oh, really?
The only reason I watched Peter McKinnon, I take that back. Not the only reason. I would have eventually started watching Peter McKinnon. But the reason I started watching Peter McKinnon when I did was because you were like, dude, have you seen Peter McKinnon's new video? And I was like, who's Peter McKinnon?
Right.
And why would I watch his new video? And you're like, oh, he's a YouTuber. And I was like, oh, there's some context.
Right.
Let me look him up.
Who is this dude?
So I looked him up, and I've been hooked ever since. Watched all the camera basics, all the tutorials, the 2-Minute Tuesdays, all that
Like
stuff.
30 minutes now.
Yeah,
It's like, welcome
yeah.
to 2-Minute Tuesday. An hour later, it's like, sorry guys.
Yeah, I watched
That's about it.
I watched a video today, an interview where he was talking about that is 2-Minute Tuesdays are like all 17 minutes or something like that. On to the topic of travel.
Okay.
So you and I have done some travel together.
Yeah.
We road tripped to Colorado and back. But actually, we went
A weird way.
kind of zigzagged down to Colorado, and then we went north to Wyoming,
Yeah, Devil's Tower.
then Montana,
Yep.
and then west back to Washington. So with the travels that you've done, we've done, whatever, are there any places that you wish you could go back to, or that you want to
Oh.
go back to because there was like a shot you missed, or because you have progressed, you've honed your craft some more, and you want to go get some better shots and then hit them with a different editing style?
So, yeah, for sure. Like, both, but before the trip we went on, like, I'd like to do that whole trip again, because we got, like, pretty much screwed the whole time we were there because it was so fucking smoky.
Smoke
Yeah,
everywhere.
it was bad. It was fire season. But, like, Northern Guides is going to be cool again. That whole trip would be way better if it was not smoky. We couldn't even see the Rockies in Colorado. Like,
Yeah.
it was bad.
An entire mountain range just completely lost in smoke.
Yeah. But before that, my last trip I went on by myself, like, because I went to Yosemite and just barely knew how to use my camera. It was like just that summer that I got my D3400. I took that trip, hit Yosemite, hit the Redwood Forest, back to the Grand Canyon, back to Zion because I was too hungover in Zion to do anything and couldn't find camping, so I had to like stay 40 miles outside the park. But yeah, I want to hit Angel's Landing in Zion. I want to go back and take really cool photos of the Grand Canyon. Yosemite was gorgeous. I'd like to spend more time there. Back to Yellowstone, because when I went to Yellowstone, I didn't even have a camera. I wasn't even into photography. I just had myself some cool cell phone pics.
Yeah.
But I think Yellowstone would be really cool to go back to just kind of explore again and shoot photos.
Maybe
Yeah.
some video too.
Oh yeah, well, video in all those places. I want to get into that too eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those parks I've been to the last 3 years that I didn't have as much knowledge as I wish, or the timing wasn't great, or something like that.
Yeah, I wish I had like a 24 mil the whole time we were gone.
Oh yeah,
Just to get just some super wide angle shots.
sorry about that.
Or I wish I could have had the 14 mil
Yeah,
just to get some killer. And I mean, I guess we couldn't have shot any stars. There was like
was so
no
smoky.
stars to shoot.
but that's like me when I was in Wyoming. Like when the first trip I went on to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, David and I, we were out in the middle of the plains and the stars were just fantastic. I didn't have a camera back then, but I wish I could go there, different angle, and then shoot the Tetons with the Milky Way behind it. Like I think that's a bucket shot for me, actually. the Tetons and the Milky Way. That'd be
We'll have to do
fire.
we'll have to do another trip, and then we'll vlog the trip, and it'll be like titled tribute to Peter McKinnon's
bucket shot.
Staying on the topic of travel and bucket lists.
Okay.
Do you have any bucket list locations you've never been to that you really want to go to? If so, what are the top 3?
For sure. So I was actually planning on going next month to Banff, but a few days ago I lost my job, so that kind of put a damper on that. So
That makes 2 of us.
I might still do it. I might still just say whatever and figure my
do
life
it.
out. But Banff for sure. I really want to go there. And then Iceland I think would be cool. Even before Iceland got super popular, this is gonna sound stupid because it's so popular now, but this was like 8 years ago.
You're going
before,
like
it was
hipster traveler.
I'm going
You're saying,
super
like,
hipster. Yeah,
I liked it before it was cool.
Yeah, like indeed. Like 2011, I was like, yo, you know what would be sweet? Iceland. Nobody had posted about Iceland yet because Instagram wasn't even a thing yet, I don't think.
True.
But yeah, I've always wanted to go to Iceland, and then it got hella popular. I'm like, I still want to go. Like, I'm just gonna be another guy that goes to Iceland, but and then I don't know, I think Europe would be cool, or Ireland actually. Ireland's another bucket spot. I don't know.
Bucket
spot shot. Yeah. I almost thought about that too this year, was because flights are super cheap, like $500 round trip to Ireland.
Yep.
And so I'm like, that'd be cool to spend a week on the island, just drive around, check out castles and cliffs and all that kind of cool stuff.
Moving on to a more kind of businessy question. Do you have any horror stories from shoots?
Oh,
like
for sure.
with customers, like if you don't want to like talk about it
Oh, no,
because
I'll
they
talk about
might
some.
make the connection, I understand, but I'm hoping that you're just okay with being a bus driver.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll call people out. You know who you are. So no, my first family shoot I did. This was like early on in my, I guess, career as a photographer. One of my first few paid gigs. But I did a family session for like $50 or something. It was like an hour long, and it was terrible. The first time I ever shot like family, and it was a guy, his girlfriend, and then his kid. Well, the kid was just terrible the whole time. He was almost 2 or something, like 1.5, and just was not stoked.
It's like almost terrible twos, but
Yeah,
already pretty terrible.
It was just bad. But anyways, and then she was all mad at the boyfriend because the boyfriend forgot bubbles for the kid to make him happy, and so she was just being catty at him, and he was just trying to get the kid, and they're trying to get the kid under control. Also, I was trying to figure out when a good timing for him too. I was like, okay, I think this time would be good, like 4 to like 6, around that time. The sun's gonna be lower. I knew they lived out in like the Squim Bay area and stuff, so I knew where the sun would be in like relationship to where they are. They're like, no, we need to do it at noon after he wakes up from the nap. I'm like, these photos are gonna be terrible if we do it at noon. That's the only time it's gonna work. I'm like, all right, you're paying me, whatever. Just know that this lighting is gonna be really bad. And I mean, I got like enough photos to get back to him. I think I ended up editing like 20 photos for him, but it was just not a great time. So that was like the first, and that's pretty much the only horror story I have, really. Everything else has been really smooth.
What would you say, even though you've kind of like just recently got your business license,
Right.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
What would you say to the up and coming photographer, to the newbie, to the amateur, maybe who's running around with like a point and shoot, or even with an APS-C? What would you say to that person to motivate and or inspire them?
Don't be afraid. Just go out and shoot everything. That's just, like what I did was just, I went out every day after work or whatever time I had and just shot random crap. And a lot of it was just that, it was just garbage shots. But I learned a lot about exposure and techniques like that. Like that's, as soon as I got my camera, because before I even got one, I read up a bunch of stuff and just I got it, flipped it in manual and just went from there. I never had it in like aperture priority or anything like that, or auto. I just manual and just learned how to do it that way. Just don't be afraid to mess up. That's gonna be the biggest thing. That, and don't be afraid to reach out to other creatives, other photographers, models, things like that. There's always people in your area that are wanting to start out doing something, or like reach out to your friends, because you'd be surprised how many of your friends are actually willing to get in front of a camera or help you out. Yeah, that's gonna be the biggest thing. It's just don't be scared. do it, do your thing, own it. That's how you're gonna succeed.
So there you have it, guys. A deep dive into the mind and career of Sean Burton of Storm Coast Creative. I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button 2020 style, because we're way too good for 2019 here. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also hit that bell to get notifications for future videos. While you're at it, go subscribe to Sean Burton's YouTube channel. What's it called?
Storm Coast Creative.
There you go. We'll put links down in the description for that. So, until the next video, guys, have a good one. See ya!